Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give, and I want to wish all of you incredible Aussie dads out there an extra special Happy Father's Day to you, you incredible human beings. And it's really the reason why I wanted to deliver this particular message for you guys, all for the dads out there on this special day. And the topic is really the importance of fatherly love in helping us to reach our highest potential. And why I really wanted to really talk into this is because I think that, there's such a different vibe around Father's Day and Mother's Day. Isn't that funny? It's like, we go this extra mile, it seems, for our mums, and we do some stuff for our dads, but we don't really think they really care that much. So I don't know if it's the same across the globe, but, we want to just definitely show massive appreciation for all of the dads out there and all of the men out there today. But yeah, I really wanted to talk into this really important topic around the difference between motherly love and fatherly love. And I mentioned this back on Mother's Day when I did a Facebook Live a few months ago, and I really wanted to bring it back and really talk about why it's important. So firstly, I wanted to just define what fatherly love is in comparison to motherly love. So my definition of love is a combination of both equal amounts of both support and encouragement to be our best selves and challenge to step into a higher version of ourselves. That's what real love is. That to me is in balance, both support and challenge is really the definition of love. And that's why it's so beautiful that we have these two human beings, the lucky ones of us out there who get to have these role models in our lives as we grow up, our mother and our father, or a motherly figure and a fatherly figure. But we need both in order to really experience the depths of love and to help us reach our highest potential. So motherly love is kind of more like it's that unconditional love. It's really supportive. It's kind of like you tend to know generally, most of us tend to feel like, yeah, of course our mum loves us. Like it's kind of a given almost because they're so unconditional. That motherly version of love tends to be so unconditional. But then we see fatherly love as sort of more of the challenge. It's kind of usually harder to get for most of us is that love from our fathers the way that we think we want to see it, because we're expecting love to be all support. And when we expect love to be all support, we oftentimes miss the fact that our fathers love us or that fatherly figure loves us because we're placing a different definition on their role. And I'm making some massive generalizations, so I hope you guys get you're picking up what I'm putting down in this message today. But let me know in the comments if you're not really gelling with it. I'd love to talk more with you. But that fatherly love is kind of like that challenge to, hey, step up, grow, and become that higher version of yourself. It's more of that challenge. And it's different to that motherly love. And the reason why it's super important to sort of just get your minds around this, and I learnt this back at one of Tony Robbins' events, Date with Destiny, about 4 years ago now. And it was so interesting to me, and it made so much sense. It allowed me to actually break free of the path that I was on in life that was unfulfilling, but I hadn't kind of come to terms with that at that stage. And what it is that I want to ask you a question, and it might take some real thinking, and you might want to do this after you've listened to this recording. But what it is I want to ask you, when you were a child, whose love did you crave the most? Was it your mother's love? Was it your father's love? Was it some sort of significant person in your life? And I'd really like you to think about that and meditate on that. And ultimately, when I was challenged with that question and got me for the first time ever sort of thinking about that, I came up, like a lot of the people in the room did, majority of the room did, with that I craved the love of my father most. And the reason why most of us fall into that part of the wagon is because it often feels harder to get our Father's love, so we kind of crave it more because it's not as easily free-flowing and giving in our definition and expectation as to what love should look like. Being that sort of funnel or filter through support and unconditional love, like support no matter what, encouragement. It's kind of like the rose-colored glasses. And what I discovered was whoever's love you craved the most of as a child, at that point in time, you defined and developed this concept in your mind as to who you needed to be in order to gain that love. And so what happens is, this is all happening in our subconscious as young children who have little to no real emotional intelligence, and really it hasn't ever been thought through or brought to conscious level. And so what happens is we've developed, at a really young age, generally between the ages of 0 to 7 is kind of when we identify who we need to be in order to gain the love, particularly from that person that we craved it from the most. And we come up with this identity, and if we don't challenge it, we can often just ride out our entire lives operating from this subconscious idea as to who we need to be in order to gain love that we developed at such a young, early age without any experience or conscious awareness. And we can end up on these really unfulfilling paths based on that subconscious belief that we chose to develop, or we didn't choose to develop, it just kind of developed in our subconscious based on the human experience as to who we needed to gain, who we needed to be to gain that love. And so for me, at that point in my life, when I was challenged with this question, and I identified that it was my dad that I was craving the most love of, I also then identified, well, who did I decide I needed to be in order to gain that love that I was seeking from my dad? And what I came up with was the whole reason why I was becoming a lawyer. That's what it came down to. I felt like I'd made up in my mind at a young age, oh, okay, my dad really approves of, he's very highly academic, he's an engineer, he's always sort of talking about that stuff and going to uni and this and that and whatever and making lots of money and all these sort of things that we sort of click onto. The alarm was just going off, sorry. And yes, and so what we do is we develop that persona, and I feel so truly lucky that I was able to be faced with that kind of quality question to break through, recognize why I was doing what I was doing, recognize for the first time in my life, kind of giving myself that permission that, like, hey, what do I want to do? Not who do I think I need to be in order to gain love, but actually, no, if I'm wholly lovable, worthy, no matter what I do, and, it's up to me to identify what is true to who I am, then who is that? And I recognized in that moment, I didn't quite have the answers as to exactly who that was, but I did get the answers that I was on the totally wrong path for all the wrong reasons. And yeah, that's a whole nother story going into that. But I just wanted to bring this concept to you guys today in hope that it triggers you on this special day in Australia. I'm not sure if it is anywhere else in the world, Father's Day. If it is, I'm sorry if I didn't say Happy Father's Day to you guys as well, but I know in Australia it's Father's Day, and I wanted to bring this concept of fatherly love because, and that quality question as to who we craved the most love from. It tends to be the father in our lives, because it generally is harder to get. We feel like it's harder to get their love in comparison to our mothers, who it seems so supportive and so free flowing and unconditional. And ultimately we develop who we think we needed to be in order to gain that love. I'm hoping that this question gets you thinking about this. If you've never questioned it before, like me, about 4 years ago when I was challenged with this question, it was so transformative for me, and I know so many people, thousands of people in that room were transformed that day they asked this question. So I'm really hoping that it is also of value to you guys, and it gets you questioning. It gets you asking yourself that quality question: who did I crave the most love from as a child, and who did I believe I needed to be in order to gain that love? And am I still walking that path that might not necessarily be in alignment with my true self? And what are you going to do about it? And I encourage you to get really honest with yourself. Your life begins when you start living in alignment with the truth of who you are, and you drop living those personas that you developed at such a young age that you haven't yet really questioned, that ultimately is leading you down this unfulfilling path. So really hope that this is valuable to you guys. So I'm going to jump into the comments and see who's been able to join me. Make sure you're dropping any questions, comments, feedback, any of it. If you want to wish your special dad a happy Father's Day, then do that as well. And if it's not Father's Day in your corner of the globe, I hope you just take this special opportunity today, to just show some more appreciation for the dads in your life, and also just for the men in general. We need that fatherly love just as much as we need motherly love. We need that support and that challenge in order to reach our highest potential. All right, Angela's here, and Tony, and Yvette, and Hassani, and Andrew, and Stephen. Awesome to have you guys. And Rose is here, and Adrian, and Brian, and Andrew. Good evening to you, Brian. And Eric's here, and Kim, I love having you back. And Frederick, hi to you, and Judy, and Jason, and Moises. So awesome to have you guys here. And Fuzzy, and Ashley, and Andrea, and Jared's here. I love it. And Brian, in Indian Vedic thought, the idea is that the father is the first spiritual master who often rebukes and instructs, which can be hard, very soft as compared to motherly love, and therefore cause the child to grow instead of being coddled. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom here, Brian. I absolutely love it. And yeah, that is such a great example as to why we need both. We don't, like that difference between, being forcing us into an opportunity for growth instead of staying in our comfort zone and potentially being coddled. So I love that, Brian. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I hope you guys are thinking in terms of that love, real, true love, is a balance between both support and challenge. And we sometimes get stuck in this fantasy of love being only one way, love only being support, only being that support and encouragement. And sometimes we need the other side. It's kind of like that tough love, that concept behind tough love. We need both in order to reach our highest levels of potential. It's kind of like motherly love, helps and nurtures us whilst we're entering into that new level of comfort. And then, that fatherly love is like, hey, jump over the next edge and reach a new level of your potential. And so we need that balance. We need both. So really hoping that this is valuable to you guys. And thanks for sharing, Brian. And Rajat, thanks for joining. And thanks, Jack. Love that you're liking my earrings today. And Asia, thanks for joining me. And Daniel and Abdul, awesome to have you. And Ram and Ali, you're so welcome. And Jean Francois and Ekram and Phil and Kane, awesome to have you guys. And Stephen's in the house, and Cam and Joy and Brittany and Manny, I love it, guys. And Mark, Labor Day weekend in the States. Thanks for the new concept. Awesome. I hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. And Kathy, good morning to you. Lovely to see you. And Nancy, thank you so much for the subject today on Facebook and Instagram about relationships. So why? Oh, you're so welcome. I love that you have enjoyed the content on relationships today. I think you're referring to the post I did this morning on one-sided relationships. I think it's super important. So I'm super happy that you found value in that. And thanks for letting me know, Nancy. I really appreciate that. And awesome. And Linda's here. And okay, yes, Brian, yeah, got it. Yep, love it. Okay, and Ram and Jeannie's here. I love it. And Charles and Karam, yes, happy Father's Day to everybody. I love it. And Angelina, I'm grateful that this is a beautiful message to you. And Marka, awesome to have you. So guys, really that is my message. I am hoping that, all you special Aussie dads and all the dads around the globe are having an extraordinary day, and I hope that each and every one of us are taking this opportunity to celebrate not only the father fathers, but the men in our lives today, and recognize just how much we need that balance of both motherly love and fatherly love, and stop expecting something different to come, putting this expectation as to what love is. So many of us do it to our dads, and we judge our dads. We don't know why they can't show up in the way we expect them to. And also, we miss the love that they give us. We miss that opportunity for growth, that challenge to get us to reach a new level of our potential. So I'm really hoping that this is resonating with you guys. And Ram, fathers, their way of steering through life is the best and most effective teacher. Yeah, so we need both. We've got to have that motherly love and that fatherly love to be those effective teachers. We need that in balance. So I love that you're sharing that. And hi to you, Tony. I am just about to sign off, guys, so make sure that you drop me any last questions, comments, feedback, any of it. I'd love to engage with you, but really that is my message to you guys. I hope that today's message has sparked you to question yourself as to, that question I asked you about who did you crave the most love from as a child? Who did that mean that you needed to be? Who did you kind of conceptually decide you needed to be in order to gain that love? And is that still having a role in your life right now? And is it working for you? And if it's not, I challenge you to give yourself permission to identify what's true to yourself, as opposed to filtering it through these, childish sort of, identities and personas that we developed at such a young age to gain that love and approval. And now's the time to rewrite that story and empower yourself to reach the next level of your potential in the most authentically aligned way possible. All right, guys. So, Jelma, thanks for joining, and Mama's ID. I don't know if that's your name, but definitely, I love that you guys are joining me. I hope you catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you, to wherever you are in the world today. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you guys tomorrow.